Oh, I guess you missed the first drop. Now you can get the second drop. Sorry, I don't know why I always get in a music mood before I start these. And that is brought to you by Yellow Claw. Amsterdam twerk music. DJ, turn it up. Alright. So, as any good night starts, as any good consuming of content period of the day, whether that's food or work or leisure, I do not know. Anyway, obviously Garyvee. Let's see how the levels are.
Poses the question about how much regulation is needed. And I wonder what your thoughts are on whether something like GDPR is needed in the US.
Well, look,
So she's basically asking some kind of regulation that they have here in the UK, if he thinks it should be applied to the internet in the United States, I think, is her actual question. And here, or regulations in the UK should apply to regulations in the United States, even though the internet connects the two. I don't know. Never mind. Here we go.
my natural reaction is, of course, Europe did overregulation, right? I think it's been the great shortcoming of Europe as a whole. And I think the US will follow suit because every leader in the free world always starts to get soft over time, in a lot of ways correctly, and a lot of ways not correctly. I think it will happen in the US because I think the incumbent companies like Facebook and Google will realize that's an advantage to them, not a disadvantage. So they will work with Congress to get these rules because it will make the incumbents of progress have a much harder time to capitalize. Look, I believe, forget about free market. This is not about being a capitalist or things of that nature. Gary, believe the number one underrated thing in the universe is the human being. I am flabbergasted by our inability to understand how special we are. This is back to the point I made about terrorism.
I'm just going to do this. The way he talks about that, like, why can we not understand that the thing worth striving to understand and discover new things about is the person that has created the world that we live in? Ourselves. We need to tune into ourselves.
I think the human is very good at regulating him or herself. But at the same token, I'm super not overly emotional. Like, if we're talking about like free markets versus not, I'm not devastated by it. To me, if everyone's playing by the same rules, almost every game is interesting to me as long as everyone's playing by the same rules. I think people play by the same rules when it's open, not when it's closed.
Interesting said, when we watch each other play our games. Because I think that's how. Oh, hey, there's my my beard trimmer. All right, thank you, Amazon. Yeah. So, forgot what I was gonna say about there.
I think it's probably at some level a version of it inevitable in the US because it actually helps the incumbent big companies, not the end user.
I'd love to ask you a bit more about your views on the human race, because there is this big conversation going on now about artificial intelligence, about robots coming to take us over, and it's super intelligence eventually going to usurp the human race. And there are some very, very credible voices out there that believe these things. You and I have touched on this before in our conversations. What's your viewpoint on that now?
Yeah, I think there's a...
I am actually very interested in this answer, only because since the last time I checked in with Garyvee and checked out, I didn't know about artificial intelligence or anything. Since then, I've been super into it, and the only thing I've heard him talk about is voice. but that's currently in 2019. This was shot in June 2018. So I'm very curious to hear what his thoughts are on the matter.
To the robots killing us. I mean it. Like, I don't know, if we were a bunch of fucking dinosaurs sitting around one day, we would have laughed at the humans winning this game too. I mean, is it so far-fetched? I don't think so. I think we're starting to see shit. I'll tell you, that robot that isn't going to be able to be detected by Blu-ray, that shit scared me. I'm like, that makes sense. Like, I don't know. I try to stay in my lane. A lot of the stuff I'll talk about tonight, I know my shit. I feel compassionate. I'm fully guessing here now, but I will definitely say, I'm definitely not willing to say no chance, never.
Okay, that's good thought. Right, let's talk about stuff that you really do know about.
That's a good answer.
Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, all the social platforms, right?
Yes.
Everyone wants to know, myself included as part of the publisher, is how do you use this as a key marketing tool or a key tool to reach an audience? And there's so many changes going on now with Facebook in particular, all of the various different controversies that have happened with it.
Excuse me while I tie my shoe.
The algorithm changing, the amount of control they have, all of that stuff. There's a major power struggle going on. I'd love to know your thoughts on where it's at. Where should people be focusing their energies on, or is it a case of like trying to have a little finger in every little pie?
The way I think about this is very simple. I think that the internet is the first layer of our society, period. And then I think there's been 7 to 10 companies globally that have been able to get so big, they're a layer themselves on top of that layer. A toll booth, per se. A Facebook, an Apple, a Tencent, right? And then it's our jobs, whether it's Mashable or Garyvee, to be the best next layer by using the layer that was built on top of the internet layer to, I think, how do I fuck Facebook before it fucks me? Right? That's how I think.
I literally just thought of like layered cakes with a column in between for them to exchange things back and forth, not through the general public. And it was literally like, as Gary said, how do I fuck Facebook before Facebook? It was literally Facebook reaching through and pulling it. That was a weird visual.
Poorly in the last half decade is they loved what Facebook was doing for them in the short term, and they gave up all their equity, and they got, and let's call it what it is, awfully lazy and complacent, and allowed Facebook and other platforms to get the equity from them because they didn't reinforce their email. They didn't reinforce their first-party data. They didn't reinforce their things. So I think you have two camps. You have the camps that are like, fuck social, it's this terrible enemy, and I'm all about first-party data, and I have an email service and text message, and I'm fucking more old-school quant, DR Galler dude from the 2003-4 era, fuck all this world, right? And then you have a different regime that's like, loves all this stuff. I kind of sit, back to your point, in both. I love having first in line and having that data. I love having an email list. I love having a website. But I also love dominating on Facebook and LinkedIn and Snapchat and Instagram because that's where the attention is, right? And anybody that creates friction for the user is doing it at giving up some of the value. At the same token, you need to create some of that friction because if you let everything play out on that platform, you become commoditized. Facebook is the #1 underpriced platform in our society. Facebook and Instagram together can do enough damage for everybody's ambitions here for quite a while, in my opinion. And if you are not a great, practitioner of the analytics, the paid media capabilities, and most importantly, the creative variable that makes you successful on these platforms, you are either leaving an enormous amount of upside on the table, or you're starting to do the process that is going to lead to your demise in any kind of relevance or growth of your business or ambitions.
Well, can I ask a question on behalf of entrepreneurs and
Sure.
people who are developing apps and other features?
The thing that I forgot that I was going to talk about, basically, he just described what I've been trying to visually conceptualize into an idea. If that could be a challenge I've now bestowed upon myself, whatever. We are essentially going to interact with each other through our media profiles, and in my world, I'd like to see it as a blockchain media profile, but I'm still not quite sure what Gary's thoughts are on that, as far as would he fuck with it or not. I don't know. But the way he talks about things that he's not certain about, he is more than willing to say, I don't know enough about this area of the world as I would like, so I'm not going to make any decisions that may be good or may be bad for me, but I hope he would want to be interested in finding out what the pulse is currently, if that makes sense. Hold on a second. Alright, so now that we're back, I kind of got sidetracked onto making my point elsewhere, the same one that I was going to make about what Garyvee was saying, but I was unable to capture that thought at that moment, I guess. But I'd like to do it here. So she said, kids spend too much time on their phones and don't know how to talk to people. And I find this interesting because, well, let me see if I can spit it out, because trying to tell you about it is very hard. Trying to type it is a little bit easier, so I'm going to try and do it this way. Kids spend too much time on their phone. And sorry, but the music helps me too. So you're just going to have to sleep, eat, rave, repeat. It's interesting you point this out. Just wondering what it is kids do on their phone. I kind of don't want to lay into her too. Not lay into her, that's not the right word. Oh, hold on. Crap. So basically, I kind of want to not go Garyvee on her, but try and figure out why this is a detriment, I guess is my question. Without asking, why is this bad? Like, how can I ask it in a kids spend too much time on the phones, don't know how to talk to people? Are they talking only with each other? Are they talking only with each other? Ah, I think I got it. Like, 9 to 13 would the are we also including older kids? There we go. Are we also including older kids? It's interesting you mentioned that. It's interesting you point this out. I was just wondering. I was just pondering what it is kids do on their phones. Are they talking only with each other? Are they only talking with others of their age group? When are young adults allowed to follow? When are young adults allowed to follow older adults' career experiences via social media? Boy. So I'm kind of being a dick on this one because, and I'll admit it, I have no qualms with that. When are young adults allowed to follow older adults' career experiences via social media? Basically, I kind of want to throw the bait out to say, you know, when can we allow kids to do whatever they want on social media? And I just want to be like, social media is a load of racket. I'll be like, all right, well, where's everyone's attention? And basically, you know, lay out the nice Garyvee red carpet and be like, yeah, you know, it's their attention. And then start to steer the conversation to ask, well, what if they were following Elon Musk? Or what if they were following someone they found really inspirational and they talked to their parents about them all the time? And what if they were admiring, dare I say, what if they were admiring someone's business ethic? If I can bring Billy Madison into this. Business ethics. If I can bring that into the mix. Because social media is just a school ground waiting to happen. Like, you thought college was fun? imagine people educating. Imagine people getting an education while on social media on a college campus. Like, you'd literally be able to weed everyone out who didn't give a crap, who was there just to have fun for party. You'd weed them all out because no one would be there unless they actually wanted to be there. AKA, hey, social media, or hey, group who likes to talk about business ethics, we're going to go over to such and such place and, chat. There's a few of us free and we just want to go talk. So literally the post goes out, the 16 other people that are following that group, ideas, whatever, gets the word, and in about 10-15 minutes, you've got a freaking class started. Boom. Let's talk. Let's exchange ideas. Let's see what's going on. Like, to me, that's where I see education going. And yeah, it's going to be through the internet. So, get used to that. So that's where I'm trying to take that conversation. This one that I just had with Molly Snyder. This one I really like. The data scientist companies, the AI. I like that one. This, I said, kids are... I guess I'll take you there. Might as well. I had another thing about when I was reading this for kids' school. So I'm thinking like 8, 9, 10-year-olds could do to prepare them for the workforce. And I was just like, ew. It kind of didn't sit well. Or I was kind of wishing that those... Like, you hear adults in the workforce. No one's ever really referred to it as young adults in the workforce. Or maybe. But when kids is in the same sentence with... Or is when kids are positively associated with workforce, normally that's to talk about child slave labor. Like, I don't know, just, it was weird. Weird for me. Kids' school can do to prepare them for the workforce. And maybe her kids are 20 or 20, I don't know. Anyway, using Thoughtexchange, which I just had to look up, and interesting. I'm very curious. Oh. Darn it. So... I may have to pause the video here. Give me a second. Alright, so I guess I better clue you back in, because now I'm off doing something else. Garyvee, where was he? Do we want to do anything here?
Yes.
Apple announced a lot of new features that are going to come with iOS 12. And
Group chat.
it just seems to me like, there's a lot of things that look extremely familiar in there. And so, like things that look like Prisma or Snapchat or
House Party.
The list goes on. Right, so...
Because features are features.
Yeah, they're features, but at the same time...
Does anybody cry when Gucci makes a fucking cool jacket and then every fucking fashion house has their version of it the next day?
Dude. Thank you, Gary. I'll just let him do it. This is ridiculous.
That the Yeezys changed every sneaker style. Like, this notion that it's bad in digital, but it goes on everywhere in the world, in every category. Features are features.
If you can't beat them, join them, is my question. Is that like what we're dealing with here?
No.
They're not joining. They're not joining. They're not joining.
How can people innovate away from the tech companies?
They're not joining shit. They're not joining them. They're taking it.
That's my question. So how did the people who are not part of Apple, not part of Google, not part of the major
Fucking figure it out.
basically like more or less adopting other people's ideas and innovations, how did they continue to innovate against this massive tidal wave?
By recognizing that all the future frontiers where this plays out are being built right now. So cool, you can't innovate on a feature in a social network, but I don't see you crying that nobody can innovate in search because Google's been the incumbent now for fucking 15 years, right? Maybe what you should do is realize social might be gone now, and let me go figure out voice or AR or machine learning or blockchain. There's always a next platform.
Yeah.
What he just said there will be the history of the rest of my life. Because through social media and through blockchain, you literally have an economy that can run on the internet powered by people's attention. I need to write that down. Crap. What was it? Oh, see, I hate this. Because I know I can go back and replay it, but then I have to stop it, and then it's like... Fuck. Here, maybe he'll joust it out.
And look, we're here. I'm not going anywhere. So, but this is important.
The combination of the internet's distribution. The combination of the internet's distribution, comma, social media's attention value, all combined with blockchain's value transfer, their security. What do I say? See, I don't know if anyone ever wants to hear any of this, so I'm wondering, do I stop this again? Let me see if I can get it out. Combination of the internet's distribution, social media's attention value, and blockchain's security, comma, the economy of the future and all its jobs will be on the economy of the future its money and all of its jobs will be on the internet. Kind of like that. Oh, this is great. So instead of me getting distracted tweeting that, I can now go back to this. Sweet.
Why we keep doing this. We accept the past, we criticize the current. We criticize Facebook for this, but nobody's criticizing Google did the same thing on search, which is why you're not on the net. Nobody cried for Yahoo. Right? So to me, this is the greatness of what Bezos or Zuckerberg are doing. They continue to innovate. Why don't we look at the fact that they continue to innovate, right? Like, nobody got mad at, NBC for teaming up with Microsoft to create MSNBC on cable. Nobody got mad at like a real estate tycoon. She went out and bought every good neighborhood for her 30-year run. She innovated. Why don't we actually look at Google and other companies like IBM and others and GE and SAP, and why the fuck would...
I'd be interested to watch maybe 2 times, 1.5 times fast forward of her body language But it seems very peculiar to me. I don't know.
2 kids and not by the Royal Bank of Scotland. Guys, we are looking at this the wrong way. We're demonizing
Like
people
she's
that
laughing.
are doing without
I don't know,
questioning
maybe she's texting, who knows.
what the incumbents were doing with all their fucking money.
Right, so I've asked you quite a few negative questions, but it's in my DNA as a journalist and I have to do that. So let's
I get it.
actually
And
talk
not
about
listen-
some
oh.
more positive things. Right, I'd love to get your thoughts on how spaces like Instagram are driving popular culture and, you know, what specific areas do you
Need
see
I say more?
Instagram being a complete like hotbed for innovation in certain cultural spectrums?
But I mean, Instagram is culture. Like, if you don't understand that, like, all of the cultural plays like, if you're not winning on Instagram from a cool or culture standpoint, whether you're in hip hop or esports or fashion or anything that we would, music, anything that we would say is popular culture, you are losing. If you are not winning on Instagram, you are losing. You know what's and it's funny, it's very fascinating to me. I'm fascinated that people think anything ever stands still. I like when people are like not winning on Instagram, they think they're maintaining their spot. You are either declining or you are growing at every second. And so my big fear is that people think, well, I'm okay. My brand's still doing well, I'm still doing well, I'm still doing, If you are not winning on Instagram and you are in pop culture, fashion, music, esports, other things, comedy, you're in trouble.
What about television? The reason I ask you this
What
is
television?
there's a show here in the UK that just started this week. It's been on for many seasons. You know my next words? It's called Love Island.
Love Island.
And I think it's very much influenced by that Instagram generation.
Okay.
Have you watched it?
Nope.
Oh.
But it sounds phenomenal. I'm desperately interested.
It's basically a social and cultural phenomenon.
Yeah.
And everyone's having amazing conversations around it. They're
Yep.
buying things on the Love Island app. They want to have the bikinis that they're wearing. Basically, people pair up. It's like the Bachelorette meets the Big Brother house.
Makes sense.
Okay, so we get your thoughts on Love
We
Island
now know what she
another
likes to do with her free
time.
time.
But Love Island's been around for a long time.
Yeah.
Like it's
But
version.
it's
Of
become
course.
something bigger now.
Of course. But it's been around forever. We love social guys. There's a reason traffic happens when there's a car accident. You're fucking nosy. like I think people, this is, you know, all this stuff, the reason I think I will ultimately have a good business career is because shit's basic and comes intuitive to me, and I've never complicated it with overeducating myself or thinking I'm fancy. Shit's basic. We love social experience.
All right.
We like
I
attractive.
think I might have to, I don't know, I'll figure out how to do these. I kind of want to make them shorter. I certainly don't want them to be hours long. I did find, let me press pause and I'll come back. I did find this Thoughtexchange thing. And my first thought was, oh, this is what I've been thinking of, being able to exchange thoughts with people from around the world and monetizing them for their own gain. Oh, this sounds great. I don't know if that's what I'm finding. So I'm gonna go through and see what I can see. I'll be back. And we're back. Tuning to you live from New York City. No idea where I was going with that. Calvin Harris, I'm Not Alone, instrumental. Gets in. So I don't want this to come off too harsh, but the more I think about this, the more I'm like, laying into him a little too hard. So as I understand it, in my brief, in my brief flurry of researching, I came to the understanding that this company, Thoughtexchange, basically sells a subscription to get your information in front of leaders of your I don't want to say of your industry, but as far as I understand it, like imagine if the education system had this. Teachers would say, we need to fix this, and then parents would be like, oh no, we need to fix that. Whatever it is that they talk about, imagine that being between every industry. That would be incredible. The problem is the people in the middle, this Thoughtexchange, because they have moderators in there, which is understandable, but they hold, I guess in the crypto space you'd call it, they hold your private keys. You're using, they are using you to convey a message to someone else. But if that message can be read by someone else without you, what function do you serve? So not that that's what I'm trying to get across to the people at Thoughtexchange, but I kind of wish I was recording the last 10 minutes of this tweet, because that's when it changed. First I was kind of just saying it like a dissecting, like, oh hey, could we decentralize a service like this and monetize the idea as a social attention currency that gets exchanged over the internet value? Anybody think we can do that? But then, as I wanted to put I wanted to define what free was in this advertisement, if you will, is basically just support their cause, consume their content, give them value, do what you would do if you liked something someone was doing, and you knew them in passing, but then when you actually saw them doing something you enjoyed them doing, it actually would be almost like oh hey, I've seen you around. What the hell are you doing? This is so cool. Like imagine that type of an environment when you're learning something. Say in school. What if that was possible? I sometimes get home and I can't wait to run to my phone because I'm thinking, oh, that conversation that I just had with so-and-so online was getting very, like, I'll literally want to run and go continue the conversation. And maybe this is what people are finding with young kids on the internet playing games together. Dude, kids just want to play games. Like, so what if they're not outside? They're talking to each other. They're talking to people that they would talk to. And here's where it gets kind of iffy, because in a child's case, what if the ability or the inability to find people in its local area that did things it was interested in, it being the child, how do we teach our children that, when you go outside, you be careful, you don't go play in the road? How would you give them the don't go play in the road speech when at the age of 5 you hand them their very own internet, basically history of themselves up until now, because that's kind of all they're really interested in until they figure out who other people are. So at the age of 5, 6, or 7, or whatever this is done, I'm making it up, at that age, when you give them the artificial intelligence and the internet, the blockchain, the history, and you say, here you go, what are they going to start thinking? What are they going to start wanting to do? Where are they going to start wanting to go? When you're on the internet, that can be anywhere. And with VR, AR, artificial, mechanical, machine, everything, with all that coming, it's going to be almost, put it this way, say if I wanted to go to the Caribbean right now, how could I do that? Well, if I stepped into a booth that only had sounds of Caribbean, ambient noise, and a smell detector figured out where I was going, so it started to try to make chemicals to make me think I was smelling what was, whatever the average is, smell of it, I don't know. And you can have breeze, you can have heat from light, you can have all of this work with your eyes closed. So imagine if you combine that, open your eyes, and you have a virtual reality headset on. You have a suit on. you can go in there and feel as if you are there as a person with consumer items today that you can go buy. Like if you had all the money and all the prototypes were done and everything was, locked and loaded, you could go out and buy a suit to put on so that you could move around in an environment and feel similar senses as to what you would feel if that environment were physically in front of you. So that's here. That idea is out there. It's testable. I don't think it's purchasable yet, but it's testable. So if that's coming, and you can, virtual headset yourself up to a move. Virtual reality is, in and of itself, right where it needs to be. Put it that way. The only thing we're really lacking is like sensory stuff. Like how does your oil vaporizer or your, what are they called, diffuser, how does that give you the right, sense of smell depending on where you are online? That I don't know, but we'll have to figure that out. These are just the reasons why I can never do these. Because I get like, how can I put that in a tweet? Tweet that. So this Thoughtexchange place, I thought, oh, how cool would that be to be able to exchange thoughts with people on the internet? And then I go and it's like, oh, I have to pay you to talk to the leaders that you are hoping the thought leaders are going to want to use your service to then go listen to the opinion that I paid to put on there, is how I understand it. To which my thought was, if we can create that system and plug it into the Internet of Value, there are more thinkers willing to work for free than there are thinkers willing to pay for their own thoughts to be heard. This is where I'm trying to figure out that last part needs some work, and luckily that will help. So, and here's where I do the asterisk down here. There are more thinkers willing to work for free. Free in this case means support their cause, aka whether that's a digital token, whether that's, whatever it is that you want someone to pay attention to. Like you could literally get Mark Zuckerberg to pay attention to your Children's Leukemia Foundation, whatever. When he goes onto his phone and he clicks that link and he pays it attention, a little bit of Facebook coin comes out of his digital wallet and goes into the cause that you support. That's paying. Money, attention, value, it's in my opinion, it's where we're going in the future. So that's where I'm stumped. How do I include all this in one tweet? And yeah, I know I could go do a next one, but I just feel so satisfied when I get it exactly to 0. So there are more thinkers willing to work for free than thinkers willing to pay for their thoughts. I had that before, but for some reason that didn't work. And I'm not sure why. Like I erased it and I said, no, I had to treat it more like, oh, because they're on a platform. It's like you have to pay for someone's attention to have you look at your thought. Because if you just had your thought on Twitter, well, if the right people aren't paying attention, no one's going to hear it. So this Thoughtexchange place says, all right, I'm going to bring everyone over here who wants to hear good thoughts and questions over here on the internet, in this dark corner that we hold the key to and you have to pay at the door to get in. We're going to hold that over here. So how do I say there are more thinkers willing to work for free than thinkers willing to pay for their own thoughts? I think that's what it was. Yes, crap. I think that's what it was. There are more thinkers willing to work for free than thinkers willing to pay for their own thoughts. So that's sort of a dig, I guess. Is that going to look bad if I do that? Let's see. Can anyone decentralize a service like Thoughtexchange? What if we do Thoughtexchange, comma, monetize the ideas as a social attention currency? Being exchanged over the internet of value. Oh, I kind of want to have that word in there. Scheisse. There are more thinkers willing to work for free. Do I do a poll? This is getting too complicated now. No polls. Those are dumb. Or at least for me right now. If I'm at this stage. There are more thinkers willing to work for free than thinkers wanting to pay I think their thoughts is fine. I don't have to say that their own thoughts. Crap, I still want that space. Do I not need it? I think it's fine. There are more thinkers willing to work for free than thinkers wanting to pay for their thoughts. Than thinkers wanting to pay. Ooh. Ow. I don't know why I thought that was such a club banger. Yeah. Wow. Yes, can I do it? That looks better. There are more thinkers willing to work for free than thinkers wanting to pay to have thoughts. Ooh, I wish I could do thoughts heard. Oh, shit, because that is really what I'm trying to say. Heard. Support them. Maybe I can do that. Yeah, because then someone will say, what does that mean? Oh, well, I'll tell you. And then I'll just make it up as I go along. There are more thinkers willing to work. Okay, can anyone decentralize a service like Thoughtexchange? Monetize the ideas as social attention currency being exchanged over the internet of value. I'm just going to leave that as a freaking tongue twister. Dum, 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 dum. There are more thinkers willing to work for free support them. Support local. No. There are more thinkers willing to work for free than thinkers wanting to pay to have thoughts heard. Support them. Yeah, support them. Ask them what they need. There. Done. Game over. Woo! Yeah. Alright. I think we're going to call this one done. See ya!